I know that becoming a mom was always something I wanted to do. I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
I just had this thought that I'm an athlete. Like I will, get returned to my athletic body.
1000%.
Wrong.
Women are having children later in life for whatever reason.
Right. I think women's bodies are so amazing. Obviously, God's plan, a miracle in my life and my timing of my life. I was grieving so bad. So I don't even know if it was postpartum or grief.
I feel like I would want to just give her a hug because here I am now as a grown woman and as a mom, and I've done okay.
Welcome to Mama and Her, the podcast.
A space for mature mothers and women navigating the exciting journey of motherhood after 35.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Shannon.
Your new mom friends inviting you into conversation to help you thrive in your mom era.
We celebrate all the incredible layers that make you, you. Before mom, there was and still is so much more to you.
We're here to remind our community that you are still that girl.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
And I'm Kayla. Welcome officially to Mama and Her, the podcast.
We are here.
We're doing it. This is real life.
It is.
Wow.
It was actually on my vision board. So
I know. This has been a long time coming.
It has.
And we thank you for being here with us, for joining us on this amazing journey. And yeah, Mama and Her, the podcast, this is where motherhood, faith, and community meet. And as Shannon alluded, she's Shannon, I'm Kayla, and we're the moms behind Mama and Her.
Yeah.
I am so happy to be finally doing this. Not only doing it, but doing it with you.
I know, same. And I think the timing is perfect because originally when I wanted to do it, things didn't line up and then it just all came together. So we're currently deep in our mom era and also deep in a transition for both of us.
Big time. Yeah.
So.
And, I think it's one of those things where you have goals, you have visions, you want to do things, but you put them off or you'll say next month or next year. But we were finally like, nah, enough is enough.
The stars align. So
we're doing this.
We're going to get into it. So let's just talk about our why for Mom and Her. Because they're a little different, but Kayla, what's your why?
What's my why? Why am I here? So for me personally, I became a mom almost 3 years ago, which is so crazy to even say that out loud. But motherhood for me has always been a topic that has been a soft spot in my heart because I lost my mom when I was really young, when I was 3, actually. And so to know now, I've always felt like when I became a mom, I didn't quite have a clear roadmap because I didn't have a mom. And don't get me wrong, I have amazing aunts and family friends and girlfriends. And even I had my grandma, but it doesn't fill that void.
There's no replacement. No.
And so for me, being a new mom, I remember, especially in my newborn, like that infancy stage, girl, like I just felt like there was a lot of times, so many times that I think, man, I wish I could ask my mom this.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big part of, sort of my why in this. And then also too, our friendship, right? Yeah. This is something that we didn't just, we weren't plucked to say, hey, Shannon and Kayla, we want you to know like this. For those of you that don't know, how long have we been friends?
Almost
now?
10 years. I'll round up. I would say 7 to 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been friends for a minute and, it's beautiful. And we'll get into this like later on in the show of how we've seen the different layers and the evolution of Shannon and Kayla, right? As different women, right? Like we met each other, I feel like we met each other as girls and we've blossomed into women.
We did.
Even though we weren't young per se.
No.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I was married already. You were not.
I was single at the time.
You were single.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both were not moms yet.
Nope. And, we did all kinds of things. Like it's been beautiful to see the growth,
Yes.
right? And so now that we're here in our mom era, and
We look good.
you know, but we felt like it was time to compile all of these experiences, all of these conversations, all of the good, the bad, the ugly that we have experienced as moms, that we were like, man, surely other moms are going through the things that you and I have gone through.
Yeah.
And thank God that we have each other to lean on.
Yeah.
And so we kind of wanted to extend that to our mama and her community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It feels very lonely when you're holding on to things that seem that you could be judged for. So to have you in my life, because I had my children later, it kind of worked out because I had my children way later, but because I met you at a time where we were just, our friendship was blossoming, you ended up having Kennedy pretty much near the same
I
time
forget you're as many years older than me than you are.
You know what? I was thinking about it. It's like a whole decade.
No, it's not. No. Okay, if we're being honest, no, it's 7, right? 7?
Round up. Like, I just feel like it's a lot. But listen, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because it's just like, I really truly felt God put you in my life at that time, because a lot of my friends who were near and dear to my heart all had their kids.
And so they were way older.
They were older. Yeah. Things changed within friendships because of that. And I get it now. Like, when you become a mom, it changes everything. And I felt so left behind, but then obviously we met, you had Kennedy, and then it just all aligned. So doing this with someone, obviously my mom was not here either. Unexpectedly lost her while pregnant, which is talk about later. It just, we need each other to share and be real. Because some of the voice notes I leave you, I'm like, if anyone hears,
it's not a voice note, it's a voice essay.
It's a podcast. Hence why we're here.
Right.
Because, and then I think when we both share with other moms, I know personally, people are like, I need to hear these things. I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And not,
but I want to backtrack though, because you mentioned your kids, right? But, and you also mentioned having them later, but explain that, because that is a part of the reason why Mama and Her was created, right? Because, we're at the lovely prime age of 36 and
43.
We at Mama and Her, we want to talk about, all kinds of things. But I think one of the things that we wanted to sort of just get the discussion going is because we shared, the whole reason is, we're not saying that, moms under 30 can't tune in and can't listen and can't be part of our community. Of course. Or perhaps maybe there's women out here who are not moms yet.
Yeah, and they're thinking maybe later in life they would like to become a mom.
Yeah, because I know that becoming a mom was always something I wanted to do. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. Okay. And I became a mom. I was 34 when I gave birth to Kennedy. So, and you were 40.
I was 40.
You were 40,
not what
41.
I planned. Yeah.
And absolutely not
what I wanted, not what I planned. But now it's obviously now it makes sense. The timing, but it definitely was 8 years of wanting. I got married at 32, was dated for 10 years. So we were ready.
We were ready.
We wanted to be married for a year before, we explored children, but I thought I had control of that, but I didn't.
It's funny how that happens, right? But we were talking, and the average woman has their first child at 27.
Yeah, on average.
Which, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. No. But what I think though is that talking about the fact that sure, that's the average age, but that there's so many more women, and maybe it's who we surround ourselves with, but I think it's also a growing change. Yeah. that number is getting older. Like, I doubt that was the number 30 years ago.
No, it can't be.
Women are having children later in life for whatever reason.
Right. Technology, obviously there's the IVF route too. You can carry an embryo later in life if the embryo has been reserved and saved, in time. Or you can be like me and have babies in your 40s and was told you could never because, so I don't know. I think women's bodies are so amazing. Obviously, I believe miracle, like God's plan, a miracle in my life and my timing of my life for whatever reason. And I think it definitely has to do with the timing of when my mom passed.
Yeah. Cause when you that's such a, like you said, timing is everything, but to know that, you know, you waited and you tried for so long, and she was with you on that waiting journey.
She knew I got pregnant, and she
was aware she was about to be a grandma.
She was, and she prayed and prayed. So that, you know, gives me some type of relief, but I don't know anyone who'd be like, hey, I want to sign up to be a mom at 40. Cause honestly, I'm tired.
Girl.
I'm more tired than I was in my 30s. So I think if I was a 30-year-old mom, but you probably feel tired too, but I can't really speak on that. But I'm telling you, when I turned 40, like stuff just stopped working. I know you said that at 35. I remember you saying something like, you notice, you do, but like literally, I don't know if it's like a head thing, but no, I'm going through perimenopause right now, which came out of nowhere.
But also too, like, I find that hilarious because like watching you go through this, because you are a few years, like I think, well, not yet, at least for me, but you're like surprised. Like, of course it's bound to happen.
But not this early. I feel like,
is that early?
I mean, it depends genetically. I feel like no one talks about it, but now there's this huge movement about talking about perimenopause. Before there wasn't. So my mom didn't tell me about it. I don't know when she went through it. And I didn't have the opportunity to ask her, hey mom, when did you start having hot flashes and a dry XYZ? Like, I didn't have kids. So listen, it's taking me out right now.
And then you throw in 2 rambunctious toddlers.
Yeah. 4 and 3, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I wouldn't have it any other way is what I'm saying. Right. But when you have kids in your 20s and 30s, definitely you're at a different stage in your life though, too. At my career, you know, I'm pretty set in my career, but listen, nothing is set.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
There's no perfect time. So
there is really no perfect time. So not experiencing any perimenopause traits yet. However, being an older mom, like I said, having my daughter at 34, and you know, when we've talked about this, being relatively healthy, in shape women.
Yes.
And just, I know for me, like pregnancy humbled your girl. Like, as far as, I just thought that I was going to be one of those women that would
bounce back.
I mean, but I hate that term.
I know.
I hate
snapback. I know.
I hate any bouncing and snapping and all the things. There was no elasticity. I was like, wait, what?
And it's funny because I think because we're athletes, I think I personally assumed I would have no issues looking like myself after. And I was okay with not, but I just had this thought that I'm an athlete. Like I will, you know, return to my athletic body.
1000%.
Wrong. For me.
Me too.
Like completely wrong.
Yeah. And I feel like there are just changes. One thing also too, and I didn't realize it until, because like I said, you know, I'm 3 years postpartum, but even I am just now starting to slowly feel like myself again.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Cause they say, I've Googled it cause I'm like, how long does postpartum last? They say 6 months after you have kids.
That's a lie.
It's a lie. I don't know you know who wrote that.
Yes. Not a woman.
No. So, and then I saw, you know, women posting it like at 3 years, I finally am starting to feel like myself. And I feel like that's the right thing. Cause same thing at 3 years with, well, I had 2 back-to-back. So,
and that's exactly. So it's probably even longer for you.
It might have been, but I think now, so Neo's 4, Naya's 3, I was starting to feel like myself, but then guess what came?
Perimenopause.
Madame Perry.
Madame Perry. Yeah.
And she just messed me up. So
just
like
when you thought you were finding a groove.
That's the thing about being an older mom. I'm not saying perimenopause happens the same for everyone. And it came out of nowhere and I got tested. So I know I'm in it. Right. It's not a guessing game for me.
Right.
But I was ready to just feel so good in my past my postpartum. Yeah. So I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Because you're out. You said you're starting to feel.
Yes.
Like you will know. And I think you do know. So now you're finally.
Yeah. And, you know, I think for me too, and we'll share more, you know, in different episodes, but I've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
The last 2 years.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally.
Yeah.
And I think all of that plays into a part. But as far as, the snapping, the shaking, it was slow.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then you throw in the day and age we live in, right? In social media. And then there are women though. And this is no knock to the moms out there that did, right? Like, hey, genetics or whatever have you. And it's just like, boom, back to like, as if it never even happened. It was just like, boop. It was all that, like it was basketball.
Cannot compare.
Cannot.
Because that's what gets you sucked in. We don't know what they've been through. We don't know, again, genetics plays a huge part. You know, sometimes stress, it goes the opposite. You lose a bunch of weight, or, you know, there's positives and negatives to both sides. And obviously when I see a woman looking good and healthy, I pray that she's also emotionally
internally.
Well. Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
again, it's all, you don't know. Right. But we actually are I think you're a healthy person. You know, we move our body.
Yeah.
We are strong. Remember that workout we did together?
Yeah.
We were like a little bit like, you know, my pants are kind of rolling down. I had to pull up my pants up to here to feel, but we are strong.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I would love to lose a little bit, but I know Miss Perry came and was like, oh, I'm just going to, you know, add some pounds. And it was literally out of my control. I don't know. And I'm trying to manage it, you know, so.
It's also giving myself the grace too at this point that, you know, even just looking back, I had to even give myself grace. Like you cannot even compare yourself to a former version of yourself. So I've been good. Like I don't compare myself to like the next woman.
Yeah.
It's comparing myself to 25-year-old
Yeah.
Kayla.
Yeah.
That's the problem versus 36-year-old Kayla.
Yeah.
And being like, dang, like, come on, like something that, you know, like you said, strength, like not being able to lift as heavy in the gym or being as fast, you know, like you talked about getting our exercise in, humbling myself, walking instead of jogging, instead of running, right? All of these little changes, but then at the same time being like, having grace that we're aging, but we're aging gracefully. Yeah. And instead of constantly trying to go back to what once was, I'm trying to just embrace this version and be as kind to her as I can.
We carried a whole human. We brought a human into this world.
Yeah.
We are that vessel. That is just, wow. And then obviously there's trauma with birth, which we'll talk about in another.
Absolutely.
Because trauma adds change and to recover from trauma.
Yeah, the snapback, the shake back, all of that, it's so much more than physical. So like you said, even if there are moms out there that are able to check that box off, but how is your mental? How is your psyche? How are you handling all of the other things that come with it? Like, how are you internally, right? You never know, which again goes back to the whole point of why we should never compare. Compare.
To support and share, you know, how we are feeling and get that support. Like I know I personally have a wide range of health professionals on top of having, you know, faith and friendship that is strong. I have a team of health professionals that have helped me, get just stronger, from like pelvic floor to, you know,
therapist with postpartum depression.
Yes.
It's real. Like it's a thing, and it may not look how someone would think it would look.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was grieving during my postpartum. So I don't even know, I was grieving so bad. So I don't even know if it was postpartum or grief. Because for my, like I never really experienced postpartum until I let go of, I'm still grieving, but it was such a weird mix for me. So thank goodness I had, a therapist, because it was wild, and the top of the hormones and all that stuff.
But that's a great point. Having to deal with multiple life issues at the same time. So in your case, you're a new mom. Like there was so much joy and pain mixed into one season. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can relate to, right? Because unfortunately, it's not always the case where you can have this joyous moment of, becoming a mom. But then in your case, you also mourned your mom and you didn't even really get time because you're like, no, I have a newborn.
Exactly.
I have to care for, and I have to be the best version of myself for him.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to managed marriage.
And
then in comes baby number 2. And then now suddenly you're, right? Like it's all of these things.
Yeah.
And like for me, it was trying my best to, get through postpartum. I think, thank goodness. Yeah, I'd say I definitely had the blues when I look back at it. But,
I never really talked to you about that. I can't remember. I feel, I don't know. Some things are literally, I'm glad we're doing this because I feel like it's bringing back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like how postpartum, did you felt like you were?
I remember feeling an overwhelming amount of anxiety.
Okay.
In the beginning, like feeling holding this precious tiny little baby and being so scared that I would mess up.
But I know it was during COVID because
I was on the tail end of COVID.
Yeah. So even we didn't really get to even see you right away.
Right.
There was all this fear about that.
Yes. We were still very much so in isolation.
Yes.
No one visited me in the hospital. You guys didn't even come over to the house, I think till she was 2 months old.
2 months. Yeah, exactly. I remember. Yeah.
And then same for you.
Yeah, so Neo was born the day COVID kind of walked into Sunnybrook. So we went on lockdown a month later. So I did have a month of normalcy. Mm-hmm. But then after that, we literally locked down for his whole first year of life, which was insane.
Yeah.
And then Naya was born. I had to give birth with a mask on. Did you give birth with a mask on?
I did not. I remember they suggested that.
Oh my
But I remember the nurses and my midwife in the room everyone was like, "Are you okay if everyone doesn't have a mask?" And we were like, "Yeah."
I don't know why. Maybe it was the hospital I was at because
they were maybe a little more.
It's the hospital that was the hub of COVID. Mm-hmm. But I just could not believe I gave birth with a mask on.
Yeah.
But it was. I do remember. Seeing you in person, but I'm sure we had conversations about how you were feeling and stuff.
Yeah. No, to your point, as far as that whole era of becoming a mom, which again I know a lot of people can relate to, whether it's becoming a mom or a dad, but it stripped you of normal experiences you should have been able to have when you in the season of parenthood.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I know a friend who had an emergency C-section, and that's already scary as is.
Yeah.
And then her husband not being allowed.
Oh my gosh.
Not only in the operating room, but then even on her floor for 24 hours. It was something crazy.
Yeah, that's
because
okay.
It was peak restrictions, peak rules, all of that stuff. And and unfortunately, those that stays with you, that sticks with you, right?
No, and I remember Paul wasn't allowed to come to ultrasounds.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. He was mad though. I thought he was he said he was going to not listen to the rules, and I was like, we cannot get kids out, please. So
but I understand.
He was mad. He was very upset, and I get it too.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for the spouse not to be allowed because you live together, but I get it. It was a very scary time.
Yeah. But it's that part of motherhood now, as we look back, right? Post-pandemic now, and we're out of it. And
I know.
So now moms right now in real time will be able to return to all of the niceties and
mom classes and all these
and having visitors. in their hospital room or wherever they decide to give birth, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think this is a good point to kind of as we look ahead. We're pretty much. Did we mention the quarters?
No. We did. We did.
Yeah, okay.
So sports girlies. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think at this point now we're in our fourth quarter.
We're in the final fourth.
Yeah. We're wrapping up. We're gonna wrap up this first episode, which I'm so excited. I can't even believe.
I literally have
butterflies.
I do because
bubble guts. Which one?
Butterflies.
Oh,
it's
okay if they're.
Yeah. I'm just so. I don't know. I just feel so excited. It's when a dream is coming true and you're living the dream.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh,
we are
the dream.
So we wanted to wrap up this episode with 5 questions. And it's sort of rapid fire, if you will. And, as our episodes release, we're going to have some amazing people, women on our show, and we'll ask them. But it's only right that this being the first episode that we'll ask each other this.
I'm going to add one. It's going to be 6 for today, but that's a bonus one. But it came to me, and I think it will be a beautiful answer. So it's very short though. So I'll add that near the end.
All right. So I'll kick things off. So I'll ask it, and then you fill in the blank.
Okay.
Okay. Motherhood is
transformative.
I would say it is an honor. What is the best advice about motherhood you've ever been given?
I feel like now that I'm out of the beginning stages, there's a lot.
This is supposed to be rapid fire.
I know. Okay.
Just saying.
This is not a voice note. To not listen to other people's advice about how to raise your children.
Okay, fair. The saying that the years are the months are long. The days are long, but the years are short.
Yes.
That's the best way to summarize this journey.
Ain't that the truth? I'm about to press the freeze button on these kids. Like, and it feels like it's out of control.
Yeah,
it feels like it's out of control. Yeah. Like, just except for the nights where they don't go to bed, and you're like losing your mind.
Oh, trust me. Okay. What is the worst advice?
To not sleep with your baby.
I know. You went there. Hey. It's not knowing that you don't know what's best for your child.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that someone else would. Because ultimately, I really feel like I'm firm on that mama bear instinct and just knowing what is best for Kennedy.
For your child, yeah.
What would you tell your younger... Oh, sorry. No, I'm skipping ahead of myself. I wish my mom told me.
I wish my mom told me... Well, she used to tell me she was right, and I would one day realize she was right. So she already told me that. So I would say to her, you were right, Mom, but I wish she kind of told me how she managed to do motherhood.
The load.
With such grace, and the way she did I just am blown away. I mean, I don't know if she could probably put into words how she did, because she probably felt like she almost didn't make it every day. And I remember...
But on the outside looking in, she did a damn good job.
Oh my gosh. So I just I would be almost to make her feel good about herself, because I'd be like, how did you do it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not even coming close, in my opinion. But anyways, that's what I would ask her.
Oh, man. I feel like it's hard to answer this question. I wish my mom told me. She died so young.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would want to give her a hug, because for me, I think if God forbid something happened to me and I wasn't with Kennedy, and how much like pain or guilt I would feel, right? Like she's on her own. And so I feel like I would want to just give her a hug, because here I am now as a grown woman and as a mom, and I've done okay, I'm doing all right.
More than okay, yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. And I just want to tell her like that if she was worrying up there, that she didn't have to.
Yeah.
And that it's okay.
Whew. Whew. We're not gonna cry on the first podcast, are we?
Not on the
first episode. Lord.
Okay, second last one. What would you tell your younger self if you could?
Ooh. I hear people ask this question. I'm like, that's such a good question. Follow your gut. Follow your instincts. Don't listen to the lies. Don't listen to those people who try to bring you down. Trust the timing of your life, because it's perfect. It's God's timing, but just trust your gut and just have faith and know that everything will be okay.
I like that. I would tell my younger self that you are so worthy, even when you don't feel it. You're so worthy of all the good things in this life, and that, it's everything. It's not going to be easy. This life wasn't meant to be a walk in the park, but that you are so much stronger than you think. And that, you are worthy of beautiful things.
I love that.
I'd tell her that. And
I'll ask you the last question.
Okay, go ahead.
Just finish the sentence. Love is
a choice and a verb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Love is God.
I thought that too.
Honestly,
too.
I'm trying to think of what is all like God. That God is love. Love is God. Gosh, just everywhere. He's everywhere. Yeah. So,
All right. I like that. I liked that. That was a great way to sort of end and recap, or I guess summarize the show. But that about does episode 1 of Mama and Her, the podcast, where motherhood, faith, and community meet.
yeah.
We hope you enjoyed, and there's lots more to come.
Yeah. So tune in, subscribe, share.
Click, like, all the things.
We want to grow this community and see it blossom.
Yeah. But yeah, for Shannon and myself, we thank you for joining us and being part of our community, and we'll see you next time.